triggered. For example, if today being the 20th, if you run daily processing today and you've got someone's credit card expiring on the 30th, and you've set the letter to go out 10 days before the 30th, it's going to print that letter for that customer today. So it sort of works backwards in time and looks at who's due to be processed. And it does that to ensure that they've got enough warning to be able to pay things on time and so on. So to start daily, I'll just click on the button. And what Stallman is just informing us is that it's not going to do a backup because it's already done one for the day. Normally what Stallman does when you first run daily is it will do a backup first, just in case something goes wrong. You can always revert back to the backup in the system. And that in no way should replace the backup that you do normally every day anyway, because we do recommend you burn a backup of Stallman to a CD or to a USB stick, something like that, every day and take it off site. That's just in case something happens to the facility. Maybe there's a fire, a flood, the computer breaks, there's a virus or it gets stolen. That way you've got all your Stallman data off site on a little CD or USB stick. Okay, so after the backup's done, Stallman will start the daily process, and it's just saying that the last time it was run was on the 19th of November. What day would you like to process up to? You can process a whole stack of days in one row if you need to. So, for example, if you've got a weekend coming up, or if you've got a public holiday, no problems. You can change the date and run daily for a few days at a time. We don't, however, recommend that you run daily. You don't leave running daily for too long. Say if you run daily once a month, for example, which is completely not recommended in any way, shape or form. What Stallman will basically do is that if you think about it, Stallman's about to bill someone for their rent. If you only run it once a month, it's then going to tell them that they're late as well, but they haven't actually got the invoice yet because you haven't sent it yet, if you know what I mean. So it's important to run daily at least maybe 3 times a week, but we do recommend every day, hence the name. And just click OK to start that. Now, as you'll see here, we've got a warning or an error alert or message alert on the screen. And what this is, Stallman has a few smarts built into it. It's essentially saying here that customer Neil on agreement number 35 is really late. He is so late, he's reached the end of his late cycle. What do you want to do? Do you want to reset the late cycle and send all of the letters to him again, all the late letters? Do you want to bill him all the late fees again, all that sort of stuff? Or do you want to leave it alone and just have him sort of sit there in the system? Now, by now, you probably would have auctioned his goods and got rid of him in the first place. You don't want him in your facility because he's really, really late. But we've just put this in here in the demo to show you that Stallman does sort of pick up on any people that are really, really late if you haven't auctioned them off yet for whatever reason, and you can reset their cycle if needed. I'll just click on No for now and continue. Now the first thing that comes up in daily is a log of who's due to be processed for the day. You can see we've got 2 AA monthlies, which are the auto pays, and we've got 2 reminders going out, one for Mr. Montanovich and a reminder one for Nigel Baker. Now the reminders are essentially just invoices with a cover letter attached. You can switch off the cover letter if you want and just have an invoice go out. That's no problem. I'll click Process to begin that process. And the next thing Stallman's going to do is print a summary of this. I'm just going to do a print preview, that way you can see it on your screen as well. That should load there for you shortly. It's essentially just giving you a summary of what we just saw, so you can keep it on file as a log if you need to do so. You can always reprint it anyway if you don't print it now. You can always get to it later. Now the next thing Stallman's doing is showing us the letters it's about to send. You'll see at the top right here, it's going to do 2 letters in total. It's just displaying the first one now, Mr. Vitanovich. You can see here it's got his agreement number, his unit number, the date he's due, the amount he's due. It's all got that in there automatically. Now I didn't sit here typing all that up before the session today. It is all automatic. All of these fields do come out of the system, and all of the wording around it, of course, can be customized. It just sort of uses default wording here. But we basically have what's called references, and anytime you want to put something in that's customer specific, we just put a reference in for you. For example, unit number, date, agreement number, price, and so on. So all the stuff around it is generic, and the references are just customized. Normally you'd print all letters, but it does show you the letters it's going to print. In case you wish to customize them or change them, it does give you that option to change it here at any point. No problems, the default's fine. I'm just going to print all letters. And as you'll see there, Stallman is also set up to be able to print envelopes. So if you do have a printer that will feed in the envelopes, you can also do that, and it will automatically put the name, address, and postcode and other details on the envelope for you. Stallman's invoices are, however, designed to fit inside those window envelopes. So if you do have some window envelopes with your logo on them or whatever, that's no problem. You can use those as well. And you can adjust the address block as well. So if it just doesn't line up with your envelopes, that's okay. You can adjust it so it moves across or up and down. I'll say no because I don't want to print my envelopes. By the way, you can switch that off. So if you always use window envelopes, you don't want Stallman to print them, you can turn it off and it won't bother you with that every day. The next thing that's coming out is the auto pay that we need to process. So Neil Robertson here, he's in unit 110. He's the one due for auto pay today on his Visa card. So just showing us the number and the amount to process. Now this is what we call a manual auto pay, because if we were to use the automatic module, which I explained before, it goes out via the internet and processes their card for you. I believe it's I think $50 or $100 or something to set that up through our credit card provider Advam, and it does it all for you. But if you don't want to do that, no worries, it'll print out this report instead, and this is where you go and run it through the EFTPOS machine, and you've got to remember to open up Neil's agreement afterwards and then put the payment in there as well, so it's marked as paid installment. I'll just click on the button there to continue, and the last thing that comes out for daily processing here is an alert just saying that there are no records to print. Now normally after daily processing it prints out what's called a unit status report. Now if you've got someone who's really late and they're now in the overlock stage, the unit status report would give you their name and unit number and inform you that you have to go out and put an overlock on their unit. So the unit status report just gives you a status of any units you've got to go out and do something to. For example, put overlocks on, and by the same token, take overlocks off. So if you had someone who was really late, they've just paid, and Daily's realised, yep, they've paid, the unit status report will also say, well, you've got to now go and take the overlock off. That's daily processing done. Now you'll see shortly in the top left-hand corner, it'll flicker a few things as it runs some really quick checks in the background. There we go, just a little progress window appearing. It just does it really quick, so you may not have read what was actually on it. It was just sort of doing some calculations. But essentially, as you'll see now, our key data section has updated to show that we've got move-in for the day, and our occupancy level is 26. So it's now updated all those figures because that's what it does after daily processing. I'll just turn that highlighting off. Now the last thing I'm going to show you today is the banking function. And just like daily processing, most people would probably go to the bank every day and take the money over to the bank. And of course you don't have to though. Same as daily processing, you don't have to run all this stuff daily if you don't want to, but it is there for you if you need to. So most smaller sites might go once or twice a week, whereas the busier sites will go to the bank every day. Okay, and what I'm also going to do is just click on that to start the banking for you. Okay, there we go. So essentially it's just showing us a few options here on the screen. We can print an old banking report. If our accountant said, look, we think you banked the cheque last Thursday, but it didn't clear till Friday. Can you run last Thursday's report just to see who it was? No problems. You click on the date, and you can do it there. But no problems. We'll just leave it all as default. Click Generate. And again, I'll just switch on the print preview so you can see it on your screen as well. And now what Stallman's showing us is all the monies we've taken for the day. We've only had one customer in today, Matt Smith. Let's just pretend it's the afternoon, the end of the day, and we're doing the banking. Matt Smith is all the customers that we've received payments from. It's just showing that on the screen. But had you have received 30 payments from different people, maybe sold 20 or so boxes to a couple of people, all their payments would appear on this screen here. Okay, so essentially it's just showing us that Matt's made 3 payments. There was $100 in cash, there was $180 by cheque, and a further $30 in cash, I think that was for those 2 locks, are shown there on the report. And the total is $310. That's what we're going to take to the bank today. Now, had you have taken some EFTPOS and credit card payments, they would appear in their relevant columns down here, including auto payments, for example, any of your credit cards, and if you have website payments as well, where people can log onto your website and pay, in the middle of the night or whenever they like, they would also appear on the bank report because they would have come in that day. So all that stuff appears. Now, you'll see here that the amount says $310 because that's how much we've got in our hand to take to the bank in cash and cheques. Now, had someone have paid $200 with a credit card, this amount would still show 310. That's because the $200 in credit card is electronic. It's already in the account. We don't need to take it to the bank. This total of the deposit section here only shows what we are taking to the bank physically in our money bag. That's cash and checks. Anything automatic won't be shown. It's already in the account. No problems. I'll click on the arrow to continue. And the next thing it's going to print out, I'll just click there and print preview that for you again, is a breakdown summary list. So essentially it's showing us, well, of the $310 we've taken, or if we would have taken 100 grand for the day, it would show 100 grand's worth of stuff on this report. It's just showing you, well, of that money we've taken, what was the breakdown? Well, $150 worth was rent, $70 worth was deposits, $30 worth was locks, proxy cards $50 worth, insurance $10 worth, and so on. So of all the monies we've taken in the banking report, it's just giving us a breakdown. If you don't want this to print out, that's no worry. You can switch it off in the system setup functions if you don't want to receive this after your banking every day. Okay, once we continue, the last thing it's going to ask us on the banking is, do you wish to reset these new receipts to be banked? Now, essentially what that means is, are you going to go to the bank right now or soon and bank those things? If you say yes, Stallman's going to presume you've gone to the bank and all that cash and money and that sort of thing is in the account, so that next time you run the banking report, that stuff won't be there anymore because it's been dealt with. If you say no, you don't want to set these to the bank date of today, next time you run banking, all the stuff we just saw, $310, will be there again, because it's just as if we were looking at it, maybe seeing what was going on, seeing what we've got to take to the bank, but not actually going to the bank. So you've got that option there to actually bank stuff or not bank stuff. Again, if you just click no, everything you've just seen on the banking report will appear again tomorrow or next time you run it. If you click yes, Stallman's going to think it's all been banked and won't worry about it again. We'll just click on yes, and all those receipts are now set to bank. If I do open up Matt's agreement again quickly for you, come across to the transactions page, and I'll just show the history so we can see everything that's going on. If I then just come into one of our payments, for example this check here, and click on the modify button, you can see that this check has a date banked. So it's now been set in the bank account. Okay, so that's been done there. It's all done, all banked. Okay, well that essentially brings us to the end of our demonstration today for Stallman Professional. Thank you very much for your time and your attention and also your questions. If you do have any questions still, I'll be online for another 5 minutes or so just pop them in the questions panel and I'll answer them for you. I can also unmute you if you like, and that way we can have a two-way conversation as opposed to just a one-way as we're having now, and we can have a chat about any other features and functions. If you want to download this demo for yourself, you can actually get it for free off our website, www.stallman.com or stallman.com.au, same thing. There's a button there to download a free demo and you'll get the exact same one I've got with the exact same people, Rob, Ian, Chris and so on. You just won't get Matt because he's a new one I put in. But you can have a play with it yourself and put one in and see what it does, change the billing plan and so on. And also if you need more information on AdVam or any of those credit card modules, just let me know. Thanks again. My name was Andy. I hope you've enjoyed the session today. I hope it was useful for you. I'll be online for another 5 minutes to answer any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.